Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us. It's a great day to be a Beaver. This is a good time for OSU athletics, and it will only get better. Today we are here to share exciting news about another step that we are taking to provide best-in-class facilities similar to our Raising Reser project and some of the upgrades that you see behind me here. What we'll hear today is about the continuation of a comprehensive athletic and educational plan for Beaver sports that started 15 years ago that we are calling Victory Through Valley. This important work has engaged and been supported by our student athletes, the OSU Foundation, and thousands of donors, our alumni, our student body, Oregon State faculty and staff, and most definitely Oregon State President Ed Ray. The results are significant and the investments are impressive. All you have to do is look back here, look out to this beautiful stadium, Raising Reser, look at what we've done with Prothro Field, Sports Performance Center, Truax Center, partnership with the campus with the Beth Ray Academic Center, Basketball Practice Center, the new partnership with Good Sam Hospital and the Sports Medicine Clinic, what's happening at Goss Field, and also White Track, just to name a few. All told, Oregon State has invested more than $200 million in athletic facilities over this period. And we are not done. Today I'm pleased to announce plans to expand and renovate the Valley Football Center by 55,000 square feet and to complete this $42 million project by the start of the 2016 season. The expansion of the Valley Football Center will significantly benefit our student athletes, our football program, and all OSU athletic programs. We will be able to recruit better student athletes. We will serve these students more effectively and efficiently than we presently are able to do. In a nutshell, it will be a game changer. There are three main features to the purpose of the project. Number one, recruiting. Brand and image are an extremely important part of the recruiting process. We recruit on a national level. Our brand image must and will be of the highest quality. We need the Valley Football Center to reflect our brand in every way so recruits see Oregon State's dedication, commitment, and investment through our facilities. Number two, competitiveness. To compete for championships, we must provide the best opportunities for success for our student athletes. We must keep up with the national trends in major college football. It is not news that facility improvements are one of the biggest trends for competitive programs around the country, and investments in facilities such as the Valley Football Center expansion demonstrate our commitment to win and to compete for championships. Number three, functionality. Quite simply, we've outgrown the building that was opened in 1997. This upgrade will greatly improve the building's functionality and use by student athletes, coaches, and staff. For example, in 1997, we were supporting 90 student athletes. Today, that number is closer to 200, with 3 sets of uniforms and 3 sets of helmets. The helmets got to go somewhere, folks. And investments in facilities like the Valley Football Center expansion demonstrate our commitment to win and compete for championships. I already talked about that. My bad. Okay. This bold vision and investment in Valley Football Center is part of Oregon State's plans for the future. This project will add 55,000 square feet of new and redesigned space, including a spacious new locker room on field level, expanded athletic training and equipment areas. Lightning, you like to hear that part. A new full team meeting room, a new grand atrium entrance, reconstruction of the end zone seating with improved sight lines, and imagine this, a new media center, and a concourse that will connect the east side of the stadium to the west side of the stadium. It is exciting to think about our future West Side story after this transformational Victory Through Valley project is completed. With that, I'd like to turn it over to the President and CEO of the OSU Foundation, Mike Goodwin. Mike?
Thanks, Bob. So thank you, Bob. I told Bob he could move some of those helmets over to the foundation office, but he didn't take me up on that. So here we are this afternoon. But it's really a pleasure to be here representing the OSU Foundation. You know, as many of you know, we are getting close to winding down our $1.1 billion plus, and we'll let you know in a little while, not today, but a little later in the month, what that plus is, campaign for OSU. And as we've been doing that, we've been working with Ed and with the other university leaders to identify a new series of strategic fundraising priorities. And these will include some additional facilities, and they'll include fundraising for other crucial needs, like more financial support for our students. And I'm sure you'd like to hear more about that, but we'll save that for another day because you'll be hearing more about that in the months ahead. I know the big news everybody is here to learn about today is the Valley Football Center, and that's one of those projects, one of those strategic initiatives, and it's off to a great start. In recent weeks, generous anonymous donors have contributed $25 million to get that project off to just the best possible start. The donors who have made those gifts are doing this because they recognize how important this project is to our football program, how important our football program is to our overall athletic program, and indeed to our entire university. So moving quickly on this project is a top priority for the foundation. It's a top priority for the university. Ed and I are going to be very engaged in it. Bob and Jim Patterson and our whole Beaver Nation fundraising team are all going to be having this as job one. These generous gifts that we've had in the last few weeks have put us well on the path to success. We've also had a lot of conversations with other donors, and we're confident that we have many, many other people who will be joining us in the near future to complete the project. But the interesting thing in talking to donors about this is that they really recognize that this project is about more than bricks and mortar. And I think if you go back to what Jacoby Ellsbury said last summer when he gave his $1 million to support Pat Casey's project, our athletic programs at OSU are really about learning how to be a successful athlete and learning how to be a successful person. And the donors who are making these gifts really resonate with that kind of thinking. They really care about young people. They really care about education. They really care about our student athletes. They want them to have the tools to be the best they can be on the field. They also recognize that striving to be as good as you possibly can be in athletics can carry over to so many other aspects of our lives. So it's really been a pleasure to work with the donors who are interested in this project. And for all these reasons, the OSU Foundation is really proud to be a partner with our athletic program and with our university on this important project. And now, thank you for coming today, but it's a pleasure to bring up here our President, Ed Ray.
Good afternoon. How are you all doing? I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited about that new media center. But let me tell you what I'm actually a little more excited about. I don't know if any of you have seen me on game day, but I visit with supporters on both sides of the stadium here in the Valley end zone and the visiting AD box, and I go outside and I walk around the stadium, and I go up to the other side and I come down and I walk around to the first side and I go back up again. It's going to be nice to have a concourse where you can actually stay in the stadium and get from one side to the other. So that's pretty basic. I'm looking forward to that. This is a very important day for us, a very important project. Bob has already talked about the incredible effort we've undertaken over the last decade in terms of facilities related to athletics, $200 million in projects. If you walk around the campus, you will see that there has been transformational change across the university. And frankly, a sort of clarion call we put out when we talked about raising research was that this was going to be a world-class facility. And that from now on, at least on my watch, everything we do is going to be world-class. And it's not just about facilities, it's about programs, it's about the people we bring here, it's about how we represent ourselves with respect to academics, research, community service, service to the nation and the world. Everything needs to be world-class. As already has been mentioned, the Valley Football Center expansion and the investments that we've made in all of these facilities are part of that broader transformation that we've been involved in. In fact, the Valley Center project is one of our top 3 projects for the entire university over the next biennium. We've submitted proposals that have strong support from the governor and the Higher Education Coordinating Commission for a marine studies campus, for a forest science complex, and this Valley End Zone project is among our top 3, and as Mike indicated, he's ready to go anywhere, meet with anybody. I'm willing to go anywhere, meet with anybody. Trust me, I don't have a big head. I understand that when the president of a university shows up at an athletic event with fans, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, the president is not exactly. People want to meet the coach, whoever the coach is, whatever the sport is. So I don't expect I'm going to be the big draw, but I am willing to make it clear that I'm committed to being there and being part of this team that's going to make this happen and happen really fast. We're talking about opening up by autumn of 16. That's not that far off, given you actually got to build something. And so we're going to move really quickly on this, and that has me very excited as well. So again, whether it's the facilities you've seen here that we've done, or the Valley End Zone project, the projects across the campus, the incredible transformational changes that have occurred in our academic programs, research accomplishments, our student profile and so forth. All of that has been wonderful. Mike mentioned the campaign, $1 billion plus in our first ever university-wide campaign. What I told people at the end of October when we sort of had our celebration of the campaign for OSU, and this is important for you to hear about athletics as well, we're not done. We are not even close to done. The best is yet to come. The best for Oregon State University and the best for our athletics program. Now, I'll tell you a funny story. When we broke ground for the Raising Research project to put this wonderful part of the stadium together, I found out at halftime of the spring game, it was my first or second year here, I think it was Mike Parker said, "You go right after Bob." And I said, "Well, what do you mean? Where am I going?" He said, "No, when Bob speaks, then you speak right after he does." I said, "Well, nobody told me that." And I don't know, we had 15 or 20,000 fans. I said, "Well, nobody told me that." He says, "Well, just say something and get excited and they'll love it." So anyway, it's my turn to speak. And basically what I said then that I want to repeat to you now because I meant it then I'll tell you the funny part of the story. I told people this is going to be a world-class facility. As I said at the outset, everything we do here needs to be world-class. And I told the crowd, and I told our co-captains were there for the groundbreaking, I said, it needs to be understood that this is our house. This is our house. Anyone who comes here and doesn't bring their A game with them is going to get their butt handed to them. And they need to understand that. That's what we're about here. We're about building a world-class facility for the Valley End Zone, and it's to send a message that I expect our players, coaches, fans, everybody to understand that this is our house. And if people don't bring their A game with them, they're going to wish to God they did. Well, as you can imagine, the fans loved that, went crazy. So then we get over to the groundbreaking part, and one of our co-captains, names will not be mentioned, but he sort of leaned over to me, he says, "Gee, President Ray, I really liked what you said, especially that part about if they don't bring their A game, what's going to happen to them?" And I looked at him and laughed, and I said, "You know, you're very young. I said it, but you have to do it." So to all of our players, present and future, that's the challenge. Back up those words. If you don't do it, it doesn't happen. Thank you all for being here.
Questions? We have a wireless mic there, Gina.
Sorry. Bob, the timing of all of this, you know, Steve alluded to that obviously you guys are searching for a coach. Is this all just a coincidence, or was this something you wanted out here publicly as you're going through this process to show potential candidates, hey, this is what we're planning on doing in the near future?
No, it's just a coincidence. No, we've been planning this for a while. It just kind of happened that way. Has nothing to do with the search or the circumstances around that. So, yeah, we've been planning this for a while.
Hey, Bob, whenever there's construction, you know, there's sometimes people can get displaced during games. During the 2015 season, what do you expect to be happening in this part of the stadium? Will there be fewer seats for a while, or what?
Well, it'll start after the 15 season.
Oh, we'll start
so
after.
the timeline real quick is that we'll be hiring an architectural firm before the end of the calendar year, and we'll have to giddy up real quick on getting the program statement out. But the plan is to demolish the end zone at the end of the season, then bring it back up, be operational for the football season of 2016. So the team and the fans should not be affected.
One more question from me now. Yes.
Could I make
yeah,
a
go
quick
ahead.
observation? This is not pandering to the media, but sometimes schedules slip. If you need a sandwich or something and can't get it here because we're working on this, you're free to come up to my suite and get a free sandwich.
And the other thing is this a remodel or a total new building?
It's a total new building. So basically what will happen is there'll be some repurposing that'll happen in this building. So if I can walk you through it, the idea is on the field level, you'll have the locker room that I talked about before, but then you'll also expand the equipment room and the medical center on that same side. As you go to the first floor, the existing locker room will get repurposed for staff. That's where your media room goes, and maybe a recruiting war room. And again, another expansion of the equipment. That's why I mentioned Steve McCoy, because he's going to love this project. He goes from 4,000 square feet to 13,000 square feet. As you build out the equipment room on that side of the building, then on the second floor, that's where the new full-team meeting room goes. So it's all new construction, and then a lot of other repurposing within the facility itself.
I guess coincidence and timing aside, how does a project like this, though, kind of help further your resume in looking for a replacement for Coach Riley?
Well, anytime I think you do improvements like this, it's a big boost. There's no doubt about it. And again, I think it just shows the commitment that the president has, the foundation has with us, and our fans have with us to try to get it done.
Bob, the architectural firms you're looking at, are they groups that have done other Pac-12 facilities, or what are the
Absolutely. They're all national firms. They're sports architects by trade. They've all done major stadiums. They've all done major football operations buildings. So we really feel good about the pool of candidates that we have for the project.
Bob, or excuse me, President Ray, you mentioned that you want to bring world-class people into this facility. Does that include a coach? Is that kind of what you're hinting at?
You better believe it. Absolutely. And let me, since you raised that, I don't want to miss the opportunity to say that in my opinion, Mike Riley is a world-class guy. I want someone of the same character and principles and ability to teach, and first and foremost, deal with young men in a way that improves their lives and understands their students as well as athletes, but Having said that, I want us to get to the next level, and I think this has to happen for that to be possible.
Bob, how will seating capacity in the end zone be affected? Will it be increased, decreased? What's the look of that?
That's a good question, John. We're not really sure how that works yet, but I think that the key for that final answer will be what other, I don't want to use the word temporary, but what other types of seating can we put in and around? If you're in by the scoreboard looking this way, it'll be somewhat of a U shape because we want to preserve the sight lines on a 365-day-a-year look out to the stadium. So depending on what we're able to do in the corners and some other parts of the stadium, we think that the impact will be negligible.
President Ray. Yeah.
Ed.
You mentioned that you guys are not done, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but are you alluding to finishing up on the opposite side at some point? Does that become the next project?
Well, I think this project is really well designed to be the next major step, to have the concourse, to have the Valley end zone, and I think logically to ultimately finish out the stadium. There always has been a larger vision. Bob has shared that with me for some time. When we did the work on Gill Coliseum, it was with the understanding that you do what you can responsibly be able to do, but you're always looking to make improvement, and we're moving in the direction of really finishing out the whole stadium project ultimately.
Mike or whoever can answer it, you have 25 million, need another 17. Talk about that process. How soon could we get to that goal of 42?
Well, we've actually been talking to quite a few of the people that might make those next gifts, and Jim Patterson, who's in the back of the room, his team will be out on the road. There's several calls scheduled for next week, and then we'll be into the holidays, but early in January, we'll be having a number of other conversations. When you ask people for big amounts of money, it takes them a while to figure out how they're going to pay the gift and how they're going to make it happen, so that can delay the process a little bit, but we're moving this as quickly as we possibly can. And just from all the conversations we've had so far, we know that people really understand and believe in this, and they'll be there for us.
And if you think about the timeline, we're talking months. We're not talking years, we're talking months to get on with this project. And so it's going to be all hands on deck, but we're all very excited and bullish about conversations we're having with people who understand the importance of doing this.
President Ray, you talked about this being a university-wide project. Can you talk about the direct and residual kind of effects that athletics have on the university as a whole, and just how important this is for that aspect?
Oh, it's I don't know. Maybe it's happenstance that I was at Ohio State for 33 years and now in my 12th year here. So I've had a lot of opportunity to see the role that athletics can play in the broader university. And as I've said on many occasions, it's a point of pride. It's a source of bringing people together, students, alumni, friends, supporters of the university. I would be perfectly willing to invite people to fill up this stadium to take a pop quiz. But I don't think anybody's going to come. But they will come for a football game. They will go to Gill for a basketball game. So it's a wonderful way for the university to bring the communities that it connects to campus in a very positive, non-threatening way. At the same time, one of the things we never talk about, I've been involved with NCAA and all this stuff about cost of attendance. People forget that we have almost 500 athletes here. And most of them not in any sport that's going to generate a great deal of revenue. Approximately half of them are women athletes. They have an incredible life experience participating in intercollegiate athletics. All of the students, faculty, and staff who are here, at least, except for a few maybe, are really delighted to be at a campus where we have all these incredible opportunities for people to cheer for their teams and be involved in sports. it's a very integral part of the American college experience, and we want it to be world class. I tell people, you know what? We don't tell students in any of our majors, at least I hope not, that it's okay to be mediocre, that it's okay to, as long as you're not last in the league. We tell them we want them to be the best and the brightest. We want them to compete with anyone, anywhere, anytime, and to provide service to their communities when they need to. I don't want us to be mediocre in anything, and I certainly expect us to be among the leaders in a very strong Pac-12 conference in football. And this project is about taking the next step to get us positioned to be able to make that statement honestly.
Can I just follow up with a data point that I know Ed's fond of? The donors to athletics in the campaign gave about $200 million roughly. That same group of people gave about $283 million to other academic projects. So as I was saying, I think the donors really see this as a form and an adjunct to the educational process. That's why they're so supportive of it.
Bob, when you were kind of going through the details of what exactly you guys wanted to do, did you visit other facilities? Did you talk to other schools? Kind of how did you just reach the point of, okay, this is exactly what we're going to do here and here and here?
Well, we did all those things that you just mentioned, and then plus we've had input from people like Steve McCoy, our doctors and trainers on the medical piece, the football people, what works for them. When you do a renovation and an expansion, you got to get the input from the people that live in it day to day to day, and so that was probably the most important part of it for us. And they had been to a lot of facilities ahead of time, and then bringing on the national sports architectural firm, they've got all those ideas too. So I think it'll be a good combination of progress.
Bob, you mentioned that recruiting was one of the main reasons why you guys are having victory through Valley. Is this something that's already been leaked to some of the recruits? Like, do they know about this project, or are you going to have coaches start talking to them about it now? Or
they've been talking about it a little bit. It'll be a bigger impact or a larger impact once we get a design team that, what's this really going to look like? How's it take shape? Then I think you really get some mileage out of it. But certainly it's something that you'll talk to recruits about for sure.
Bob and Ed, anybody who wants to answer this question, I mean, there's lots of talk the past couple of years about the facilities battle within the conference, and how did that create a sense of urgency for you guys to move ahead as quickly as possible on this project?
Well, you know, let me go back. I think as early as 2004, at least from my perspective, when we were talking about raising Reeser, before we even broke ground, I can tell you that Bob and his colleagues had a very clear vision of what we needed to be doing for the athletics program from a facility standpoint. Having said that, I'm an economist. I understand competitive advantage and disadvantage, and we're very attentive to the kinds of facilities, capabilities that others have and don't have, and how that positions us to be more effective or less effective in competing for bringing bright and capable student athletes here. And so it certainly is part of the mix.
And Ron, I would just chime in. This is no different than what happens on the rest of the campus. You want better business faculty and better business students, you build the business building.
And we did.
And we did.
More along the line of the linking the concourses, that on this side kind of close it off. How do you envision that?
Yeah, we think what will probably happen is, remember, if we're going to put the locker room on the field level, that's going to raise the seat level at least 10 feet, if not higher. So there'll be a better sight line to the field of about 10 rows. And then that's where the concourse will come in right behind it and then attach eventually to the west side.
Can you just give us an update as to where you're at? What kind of feedback you've had?
Well, right now we're in the Valley Football Center on the third floor.
Where you're
as far as the west side? Is that what you're asking? Sure.
No. Just the overall coaching search, just to what kind of feedback you've heard.
I thought we said we weren't going to talk about the coaching search.
Can't speak to any of it.
So we're not.
Okay.
We're ongoing as we speak.
We are searching.
We are searching.
All right, this is not about the search, but I couldn't let you go without asking this. Just the last week, just overall with the program, just you know, some assistants are still here, some are not. Can you just speak to what the overall program has been like, just in this weird kind of transition phase while you're going through the search?
Sure. I mean, whenever you have a coaching change for whatever reason, those things are trying times. So what we've tried to do through Mark Masseri, myself, and a couple other staff members is make sure we check in with the people that are still here, because a lot of them really don't know, so it's a time of angst. So just trying to help out with that and talk them through it and make sure that nobody's on the ledge.
I was sitting in a White House-sponsored educational opportunities forum, looking at and listening to the President of the United States when I got an email about somebody reporting that Mike Riley was leaving Oregon State, and then proceeded to share with anyone around me who wanted to know it that my football coach was resigning. So obviously it's been a pretty dramatic week.
And what's your message been to, you know, the players and the staff members who are still here, just to keep them off the ledge, to use your word?
Well, yeah, I mean, the best thing to do is just keep on doing your job for now. You know, and this thing will shake out, and you know, it's like anything else. If the bad happens, you know, I'm a firm believer that when one door closes, another one opens, and so you just have to have the faith and the conviction that you're going to land on your feet, because these are all good people, they're all good coaches, and it'll happen at some point in time. We don't know where, we don't know when, but it'll happen. So you just got to keep the faith.
And the staff and Bob, Mark Masseri, others have really reached out to the players to, you know, just try to give them a sense of whatever they could about how things are going and find out how they're doing. This is a very tough time for many of them, I'm sure, and we've tried to be available and sensitive to conversations that would be helpful to them.